I'm going to look at your behavior. And if you're a white man who's a psychopath, I'm going to call you out as a psychopath. And if you are a black man who's a psychopath, I'm going to call you out as a psychopath. And you, whatever you are, if you're a psychopath, I'm going to call you out as a psychopath. You're not a white psychopath and a black psychopath and a, I don't know, Hindu psychopath. You're a bloody psychopath. This is what happens when you look at people as individuals. But it don't work in Marxism, because it's all based on playing groups off against each other, creating conflict, which then transforms society in the way that you want it. And look at what's happened. You know, I've been really talking till my throat goes sore, really, over the years, about the obsession that we have with labels. Instead of being consciousness, having an experience, we have to be not only externally labeled, we have to label ourselves. I call them IMRs. So I am are this, I am are that. So you start out with I am our man, I am our woman, I am our white, I am our black. But these IMRs are now being subdivided into more and more minutiae of self-identity, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Who are you? I don't know, well, have a look. Leave magnifying glass out. Oh, that's who I am. And so what you have is more self-identities to play off against each other in the Marxist self-identity struggle. So now we have got to the point, Luke, where feminists are having big rucks and arguments with transgender. For instance, people in big strapping male bodies who self-identify as a woman, taking part in women's sport. Who do you think is going to win the weightlifting? You know what I mean? So now women are going, hold on, even on that level, hold on a minute. Our sport's being destroyed.
The 17-year-old Dallas area high school student won the title of champion in the girls' state wrestling competition Saturday. A mix of cheers and boos directed at the wrestler as he fell to his knees, appearing to soak in the win. Many in the audience feel Beggs has an unfair advantage on the road to victory.
There's a big issue right now, right? And I think if he has been taking hormones or steroids, he should be wrestling boys.
Women can't win this event anymore. What do you have there? Conflict between self-identities. Classic Marxism. And and the other point about all this is that what Nazis and Marxists and communists, whatever you want to call them, what tyrannies always do, is if there's a debate, they can't win, don't have it, shut it down. And so what we're seeing now with this fake progressive, fake liberal mentality that's actually put the Democratic Party to the right of the Republican Party, if that's possible. They just haven't got the self-awareness to see it. What we're seeing is wherever there's a debate that they can't win, shut it down. And you shut it down by labeling anyone who has a different opinion beyond the one you want to impose as a Nazi, a sexist, a misogynist, or whatever. So we have reached the point in shutting down the debate in absolute classic Marxist Nazi style. Even the question of whether men and women are biologically different. You know, I mean, all I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, is find yourself a mirror. Have a look. And you might realize there is some biological difference, you know what I mean?
Let's look at differences between men and women that are explicitly anatomical and physiological. Are men taller than women on average? Does anyone take offense at that fact? Are you irritated?
There's always a standout.
So I would say, you could be irritated by it. You could be irritated by the fact that women have to be the ones to gestate and lactate. You could be irritated by a lot of truths. But taking offense is is a response that is rejection of reality.
But what did Orwell talk about? He talked about creating a society of 1984 in which the population had to accept that 2 and 2 equaled 5. What is it? How other can it be perfectly described when you have professors of biology being castigated, even being fired for saying that men and women are biologically different? What that's saying, and it's not just about targeting, one professor. It's about saying to all the other professors and everyone else in academia and everyone else beyond academia, this is what happens if you don't do what we say. And then you go into the most insidious type of censorship, self-censorship. People just stop saying it because they're intimidated. And so, how better can it be described than you cannot have an opinion that men and women are different, other than to say, you can no longer say 2 and 2 equals 4. You've got to accept it equals 5. This Orwellian society is absolutely in our face. And I'll say this to their face, this progressive, self-obsessed mob. You are everything you claim not to be. You are using the techniques of fascism, of Marxism, of tyranny to impose a society which you have actually been programmed to believe in by years and years of incessant perceptual programming, not least through the schools and the universities and the colleges. And you are going to have to live in the tyranny that you are creating. And I tell you what, your kids are going to have to live even more fiercely in the tyranny that you are creating. Because you don't know what you are creating. What you're doing with your virtue signaling, with your, oh, look at me, I'm ever so nice. Look at me, I'm a much nicer person than you. Look at the art on my sleeve. What you're doing in your self-obsession is enforcing a system of control, of perceptual control, of opinion control, that you are eventually at some point, the penny's going to drop, but it's now being applied to you and your kids, and you're going to go, oh my God, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Wake the hell up while you still can.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. Personally, when looking at everything that's happening in our political discourse, what I think is happening is people are just trying to be as divided and conquered as possible, and they're trying to make you identify, as you were talking about, with your race, with your ethnicity, with your beliefs, so you could have kind of this gang fights, and I kind of refuse to do it because it's really, really dirty, and ultimately I don't see this as a left and right, as a white or black, as a Muslim, Christian thing. It's a top-down thing, which you've been talking about for decades and warning about, and I think we're really at the precipice right now with this kind of identity politics that is ruining political discourse. And of course, let's just be honest here, one side is being promoted while one side is being shut down.
Yeah.